Hey, hello, I'm Allison. Thanks for joining Yoga for Cyclists with Saskatchewan Cycling Association. I'm going to give you about 30 seconds, 40 seconds, just to grab a bath towel or a small blanket like this one. You'll find right at the beginning of class is going to be quite helpful to you. So yeah, just go and do that right now if you don't have one handy right now. So last week we focused quite a bit on core strength, which lots of cyclists kind of lack core strength understanding. And this week it's going to focus a little bit more on overall flexibility of the body, which isn't a bad thing. I went on my first outdoor ride yesterday, which I haven't recorded on Strava yet, but it's coming. So I just found, yeah, when I got off my bike, yeah, just that feeling of just stiffness all over. So we're going to focus on flexibility for the whole body. Okay, so once you've got your towel or small blanket, you're just going to roll it up. So I'm going to open mine up into an angle about this size, and then just roll it up into a tube, and just place it on your mat at the top of the mat, right in the middle. And what this is doing is it's just a cushion for your spine as you lay back. And it also kind of lifts your chest, opens up the front of the body. Because again, like I was talking about last week, and you already know, when we're on our bike, the whole front of the body is really closed off. So we're going to try and balance the body out a little bit. So just sitting in front of your towel or blanket, you're just going to lay the feet out, lay the legs out. And as you lay over the towel, just make sure that it's right underneath your spine. One last thing to check on is make sure that your head isn't tilted back and crunching your neck back this way. If so, just give your towel a little tuck underneath so you've got this really nice pillow. And then the last little movement here is just roll your shoulder blades, your scapula down on either side, just like you're pulling them down the back. So you really feel the front of your chest opening up. And really important, have your palms facing upward. Good, and you can just allow your feet to come together, which will coax your the legs to stay nice and strong in this position, because you don't want to let your feet splay out to the side, because that tends to put a lot of pressure on the low back. So nice strong legs, toes pointed upward. If you want, you can close your eyes and just start with a few deep breaths. So breathing right down into the base of the belly, up into the chest and into the head, and then exhaling. So again, you don't want to force your breath. A lot of the time you'll hear yogis breathing and it's that Darth Vader sounding breath. Don't force your breath at all. Just a nice, natural feeling, deep breath. Every exhale you make, just feel your shoulder blades relaxing down on either side of the towel or blanket. All right, so you're probably feeling pretty relaxed already. So let yourself take just a couple more deep breaths. All right, and when you're ready, you can just bend your knees and just roll off to the side. Come back to a seated position, and we'll just take your blanket, your towel, just off to the side. All right, good. So let's just stand right at the top of your mat. Okay, we're just going to warm up a little bit. All right, so let's reach your arms all the way up overhead. Take a deep breath in, and then to exhale, just hinge forward. I'm just going to try not to hit my head on my couch here. Inhale, lengthen out through your spine. And as you exhale, just bend your knees, come back to downward facing dog. So in downward dog, just let your knees bend and feel your spine lengthening out. Press into your hands.
And really feel that line right from the pinky fingers all the way down through the spine. Good, just avoid a rounded spine this way with straight legs. Don't worry about straightening your legs, give them a bend. Good, about 3 breaths. Downward dog can feel quite heavy when you're first starting to do yoga. The more you practice, obviously, it gets easier. All right, so just take your left foot, place it kind of in the center of the mat. The right foot is going to stretch up and back. I'm going to actually lift my right hip so that the right hip is reaching towards the ceiling, and then bend at my knee here. This is a really tough move, so if you struggle with this one, just be patient, take your time. Again, you can bend that standing leg if you like. Just feel that side body opening up. And then slowly pull your knee towards your nose. Now you can round your upper spine, pull your navel up towards the back. Hold that for 2 seconds. Don't stop breathing, keep that breath nice and long. All right, and then just step forward. You're into a low lunge. So it's a little tricky to start off. You might feel pretty warm right away. I'm just up on the pinky, or up on the fingertips here. You can also have a block underneath your hands, a stack of books, whatever feels best to you. And just try to let the hips sink a little bit more here. And again, focus on just spreading the weight out as well. Don't let your front foot take all of the weight. Take some weight into your back foot, into your fingertips, spread it out a little bit. Good. All right, now I'm just going to take my left hand down onto either some books, the block, or the mat, and then just feel my shoulders open up. I'm trying to keep my hips as level as possible, so I've got a nice twist in the mid-spine. Good. Once you've got that twist, reach your right hand up to the ceiling, and just like somebody's pulling that hand up towards the ceiling, reach upward. That increases that feeling of twist. Again, spread the weight out on those 3 limbs on the mat. A couple of deep breaths. Your neck is a little tight, like a lot of us cyclists have tight necks. Just look downward. That's fine as well. Good. One more breath in, reaching up with that top hand. Good. And as you exhale, come back down. All right, let's just step right up to the top of the mat. Forward fold. Good. And if you need to, just bend your knees. Let your spine get nice and long. Slowly reach up overhead, come up to standing. Good. And back to a standing position, or in Sanskrit, we say Tadasana. So you're right at the top of the mat. Just take a breath here. All right, next breath in, reach up through the hands. Exhale, hinge forward. Good. Inhale, lengthen out your spine. And then exhale, you can either jump or step back to downward dog. Today I'm a little tired. I'm going to step back. Let your knees soften, stretch out through the spine, nice and long. Spread that weight out evenly. Don't let your hands get too heavy. Take some weight into your feet. Another full breath here. All right, so we're going to move into that 3-legged downward dog. That right foot steps kind of in the center of the mat. The left foot reaches up. Start to lift your left hip. You'll see that I'm kind of twisting a little bit. Good, and let your knee bend. Again, this one is a little tricky. If you're really, really tight, you might struggle with this one a little bit. If so, you can just stay in 3-legged downward dog facing down. If you're feeling a little more adventurous, or you have the space in the body, just let your back foot or that lifted foot reach backward. 2 breaths here. Again, spread that weight out. The hands get really, really heavy in downward dog. All right, now let's come to knee to nose. Pull the navel up, round the upper spine, and take your knee right to your nose, or as close to as you can. Don't stop breathing. All right. And just step that left foot right between your hands and spread out the weight. We're in a nice low lunge. All right, so again, you can have a stack of books under your hands, yoga blocks, or your fingertips can be right on the mat. I believe these sessions are going to be recorded, so if I'm moving a little quickly, you can always go to YouTube afterward and check them out. Okay, just letting your hips sink a little bit more here. Good, all right, let's come into that nice twist. So that right hand comes right underneath the right shoulder. Try to keep the hips as level as possible and the shoulder, the left shoulder stacks right over top of the right shoulder. My left hand is gonna stretch up to the ceiling and I wanna get the feeling like somebody's come along and they're pulling up that left arm, just increasing that twist in the mid-spine. Good. Keep your breath moving nice and smoothly. Spread the weight out between your 2 feet and your right hand. One breath here. All right, as you exhale, come back down, and we're just gonna step that back foot forward during that nice forward fold. Let your knees soften, arms dangle. All right, slowly come all the way up to standing. Reach all the way up overhead and back to mountain pose or Tadasana. So just a quick little check-in in Tadasana. You want to feel as though your ears are lined up right over the shoulders, which are lined up over the hips, knees, and ankles. If there's a comment section, you can comment to let me know if I'm not lined up. All right, so let's move on. Let's move into Virabhadrasana 2. Keep your right foot right at the center top of the mat. The left foot steps back about a leg distance backward. So I'm guessing that's about a leg distance for me. The front heel lines up with the arch of the back foot. Make sure that the bottom of your foot is really wide. So lift your toes, spread them out. Good, and then just bend into your front knee. Take the knee right over the ankle. And then just a nice little adjustment here, which I didn't mention last week, but it can really help, is you want to feel like your feet are pulling in towards each other. So it really strengthens your legs and adds a little extra element of strength here. You want to feel as though if somebody came up behind you and pushed you, that you wouldn't move. Arms stretch out to the side, and then just take your chin right over top of the shoulder. Point the chin out over top of the middle finger. Just one more breath in. And as you exhale, straighten the front leg, and then just simply hinge the hips forward, just tilting the hips, stretch out through your right hand. Hold that there a couple of breaths. All right, and then you can just let that top hand rest down, either on your shin, your knee, your thigh, wherever your hand comfortably rests. Rest it there, and try to stack the shoulders, one on top of the other, and the top hand just simply reaches upward. And again, you want that feeling like somebody's pulling that arm up, opening up your chest. If you get the sense, the feeling like you're gonna fall backwards, it's a good thing. It means you're really opening up. One more little adjustment, just feel your big toe on your front foot pressing down into the mat. Really roots you down. Try to avoid kind of a crunched feeling in the side of the body. You really want to open up this bottom half of your torso. Stretch it out nice and long. All right, like somebody's grabbed hold of your top hand, come all the way back up and point your toes so that they face forward. Take a look at your feet. The outside edges of your feet to be just about parallel. You might feel like you're slightly toed inward. That's good. All right, strengthen your legs. Feel the muscles of the legs hugging the bones.
And then just start to tilt forward. Reach your tailbone backward. Come as far forward as is comfortable to you. This is where if you have a block or a stack of books, maybe to rest your hands on, that's great. Some of you may be able to come down all the way and rest your hands on the floor. Whatever works. Again, just avoid that round spine. That's not going to do anything for you. Keep the spine nice and long, even if that means you don't go down as far. Good. Just hold that another 3 breaths. So longer holds this week, really focusing on getting deeper into those stretches. You want to feel the stretch just in the middle of the muscle. All right, then I'm just gonna move into Skandasana. So what I'm gonna do is just shift my weight all the way over into my left foot. My right foot is just gonna lift upward. Then I'm just gonna sink down. You should feel the stretch right on the inside edge of your right leg. Just hold that there. If you're feeling really stable, you can even take your hands into prayer position. Looks a little fancier. So you'll notice too, this really puts a lot of strain on ankles, can really strengthen your feet actually. If you want to work on that, that's not a bad thing. All right, and then just simply walk your hands all the way to the top of the mat and step forward. Take a breath in, lengthen out through your spine. And then as you exhale again, one more forward fold here. Well, actually, we will be doing a few more, so it's not one more line. All right, inhale, reach up. Exhale, come back down. Good. Inhale, lengthen your spine out. And let's just take your left foot to this top center of your mat. Step your right foot back. So same thing again, just the other side. All right. So front heel in line with the arch of the back foot. Good. As you bend into your knee, take it right over the ankle. Feel like you're pulling the legs, pulling the feet towards each other, trying to slide them together. Really strengthening the muscles of the legs. Stretch out as wide as you can. And try to point your chin over the pointer or the middle finger of your left hand. Good. Sink into your knee if you can. Widen your stance if you want. Good. Just avoid letting that right shoulder roll inward. Try to roll that shoulder blade back. Really settle into the pose. Feel weight equally in both feet. All right, on an inhalation, straighten your front leg and then just simply tilt your hips forward. That's it. Keep the bottom half of your torso as long as you can as you stretch out through that left hand. I always imagine as though somebody's just pulling my hand forward, lengthening me out. All right, just let your hand come down, rest on your leg comfortably, stretch up through the right hand. And again, somebody's just adjusting you, pulling that arm upward, increasing your twist. It's a very, very slight twist here. And just to make sure you're not hanging in the pose, always try to just simply lift your bottom hand a little bit away from your leg. You don't want to really just like press down on that leg too hard. All right, come all the way back up. And then again, we're going to do that forward fold. I'm actually going to face you so that you don't get a nice rear view. So I'm just going to fold forward again one more time. Resting your hands on a block, some books, or the floor. Nice long spine. If you're very, very, very tight, don't be afraid to just bend your knees a little as well. Just focus on that nice long spine.
All right, just checking in, making sure all four corners of both feet are pressing into the mat equally. Very important. Okay, let's shift the weight over into the right foot, bend the right knee, let the left toes just come up. Good, you should feel that stretch on the inner side of the leg, the adductors. If you're feeling quite comfortable, quite steady, you can even bring your hands together. All right, just one more breath in. Okay, and then you can just walk your fingers back to the top of the mat. I'm already there, so you just step forward and just back into that nice forward fold. Little bit of softness in your knees. Inhale, come all the way back up to standing. Good. Okay, so let's keep your right foot at the top of the mat. Step your left foot back. We're into a high lunge. So just to make sure you don't feel like you're on a tightrope having to balance, have your right foot kind of in line with the outside edge of the right hip and the left foot outside edge of the left hip. So you're on train tracks rather than a tightrope. All right. Good. Again, the toes nice and open, bottoms of the feet really wide. Feel your shoulders stacked right over the hips. Good, and if you like, you can reach up to your arms, 2 or 3 breaths. Spread the weight out nice and evenly. I'm going to change the stretch for the upper body a little bit. Take your hands behind you, interlace your fingers, roll your shoulder blades down. This might be it for a lot of you. If you feel like you have a little more space, you can lift your hands up away from the hips. I don't have a lot of space here. So do what you can do. Please don't be in pain. All right, and then I'm just gonna hinge forward. Your legs may be screaming at you, but you know, shut up legs, right? And then just let your back leg get nice and light. I'm actually gonna straighten the front leg and come into warrior 3. So I apologize if I'm out of the screenshot right now. I'm just rolling the shoulders back. If your arms are quite tight, you don't have to have the fingers interlaced. Just reach your fingers backward. And coming back down as smoothly as you can. All right, now just come into low lunge. Get ready, step your foot forward. What I'm gonna do is walk my right foot over to the left. As I step my foot forward, I'm stepping my left foot where the right foot normally goes. So you've got a cross leg forward fold. The IT band usually gets a really nice good stretch here. You might find too, I find this, I can't always go down as far in this position. Take a couple of breaths. All right, and come all the way back up, and you can uncross the feet. Good. Left foot stays at the top of the mat, right foot steps back. Try to bring your feet into train tracks rather than a tightrope, so it's a little easier to balance. Good. Feel your shoulders right over top of the hips. Avoid kind of like a weird low back bend here. You can even kind of lean forward slightly to avoid that. Reach up through the arms. Sometimes even this motion is too much for low backs. If that's the case, just bring your hands to your hips. Do what works for you. Just don't be in pain. Good, the hands reach back. If that was uncomfortable interlacing your fingers, simply reach your hands back, all right? I'm opening up the chest. Good, trying to put as much weight in the back foot as I can. All right, and then just begin to lean forward. And then I'm going to try to make my back foot lighter. Take a couple of hops if you like. Straighten your standing leg. And just like a teeter-totter, hinge forward. You don't have to be like a complete tabletop. Just avoid rounding the spine. And again, you can let go of the hands. They don't have to be interlaced. All right, and then slowly back down to that high lunge as gracefully as you can. Hands can come down. I'm walking the left foot to the right and stepping the right foot to where the left foot normally is. That cross forward fold. So now I'm just gonna straighten out through the spine, reach forward. This here is enough for me. That's enough stretch. So with the long spine, just hinge forward as much as works for you. All right, I'm just gonna uncross my legs and actually come down to a seated position. All right, okay. Yeah, moving into staff pose. So the legs are quite long. Good. This pose can be pretty difficult for a lot of people because we're tight. We're cyclists. We're pretty active. So what you'll find is you'll, just like last week, you start to feel kind of like your spine is rolling backward. So again, your towel folded up this time to just look like this. Okay. All right. I'm just going to place that underneath my hips. And I'm going to be right at the front of the fold so that I can almost feel like I'm falling off. That gives me a little bit of an adjustment. All right. And we're just going to hold staff pose. So feel as though your shoulders are right over the hips. You've got length in the spine. Again, if you're extremely tight, you just can't go 90 degrees. Don't worry about it. Take your hands behind you slightly. As long as your spine is nice and long and your legs are strong, toes pointed up, it's still staff pose. All right, so whatever works for you. Good, feel those back muscles working to keep the shoulder blades rolling back. All right, so just relax a little bit. We're going to move into a twist. So I'm just going to bend my right leg and just have it in front of me, just as close as possible. You have a couple of options here, whatever works for you. So if you're feeling quite open, quite flexible today, you can cross that leg over top. All right. And then as you twist to the right, you get a really nice hip stretch as well. So I'm taking my right hand just behind me for support. My left hand is doing the work and gently pulling me around to the right. If that's a little bit too much, of course, you can do this without that folded leg over top. All right, you decide. We'll hold another 3 breaths here, nice, long, deep breaths. Keep your neck fairly neutral. Try not to twist with the neck. People like to kind of lead with their face. Let the mid-spine lead. Let your left arm do the work for you. All right, uncross, or untwist, I should say. Lengthen out the legs, back to staff pose, Dandasana. Bend your left leg. Again, you can cross over if you like. Just make sure that that straight leg stays long and very strong. I'm taking the left hand behind me for support. The right hand is going to do the work here. So as I inhale, I'm lengthening. As I exhale, use the arm and twist. Keep that kind of rhythm in your mind. So inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist. Even if you're not moving, inhale, lengthen. Just imagine that happening. And imagine as you exhale, twisting. Again, keep that twist right in the mid-spine. If your neck is comfortable and you have space, you can gently look over the left shoulder, but try not to lead with your neck. All right, good. Just untwist. All right, so just like we did last week, our last pose is going to be Dandasana. I'm not sure if that was our last pose, but I know we did it last week. It's a good pose. This time we're not going to do the variations. We're just going to do just a typical bridge pose. So I'm just going to pull my feet in about hip distance apart. And this is quite important. Just make sure the outside edges of your feet are parallel. Hopefully you can still see me in the camera here. Okay, so with bridge pose, try not to look to the side. So I'm just going to show you first so that you don't look to your iPad or whatever you're watching. All I'm doing is just pressing my elbows into the mat, lifting my hips, spreading the weight out, and then tucking my shoulder blades in towards each other so that I feel like I'm right on the top of my shoulders. I'm keeping my fingers pointed up. And then just as I press into the feet, lifting the hips, pressing into the elbows. And of course, the back of the head is resting on the floor. And taking a few deep breaths. So whenever you're ready, you can come up. We'll hold for about 5 breaths or so. Again, just keep your gaze straight up and down. Don't look to the side. Your neck is in a fairly precarious position. Okay, one more breath. All right, and slowly coming back down. Good, just untuck your shoulders, stretch out your left leg, pull your right knee in towards you, nice and tight. And we'll just hold this here for a little bit. One thing I didn't mention is to grab a yoga strap. Lots of people don't have them, so it's okay if you don't. For next week, if you want to have your yoga strap handy, or even just like any rope, it can make some things easier, but you don't absolutely need it. All right, so what we're going to do is just reach up through that right heel, stretch that leg up nice and tall. This is where a strap comes in handy. If you're really, really tight, you might find this is about as high as is comfortable. It doesn't really matter how high your leg goes, as long as the legs are long, the back is feeling nice and long and relaxed. I'm going to actually grab behind my hamstring, reach up through the heel and hold there. If you're able to, go right ahead. If not, you're going to get some good core workout here. All right. So we'll hold another 3 breaths or so. I'm just going to slowly pull in as much as I can. Some of you might actually be able to grab a hold of your toe. If you can, go for it. Certainly makes things easier. All right, and slowly lowering back down. Take your time lowering that leg down. Whew. All right. Good. Take your left knee in towards your chest. We're right nearing the end of the class, so you've done well if you've made it this far. Just a couple of breaths here. All right, and again, just lengthen that left foot up towards the ceiling. Reach through the heel, pull your toes back. Grab behind the hamstring if you can. Otherwise, do your best, hold it in place. Always take breaks. If you feel like you're just sweating and it's just a lot of work, you can't catch your breath while you're doing yoga, you've gone too far. So feel free to take breaks whenever you like. But at the same time, you want to challenge yourself. So it's all about just finding that balance. Again, for some of you, if you can grab your toe, go for it. All right, and then just slowly lowering back down to the mat. As slow as you can go. All right, and once your leg makes it down there, you're already down on the mat. We might as well do a little shavasana or corpse pose relaxation. So just spread your legs out nice and wide, let your arms fall out to the sides, palms facing up. And if you feel like there's a little bit of tension in your low back, you can always take that towel and just roll it up, place it underneath your knees. That's what I'm going to do right now. Just get nice and comfortable. Close your eyes. Let your breath slow down. Now bring your attention to your toes, your feet, and your ankles. Just release any tension there. Let the toes and feet just fall out to the side. The muscles and bones of the legs rolling out, relaxing. Feel softness in your belly and your low back. Chest and shoulders relaxing. Arms and hands, fingers, completely relaxed. Try to let your head become heavy. The neck totally softens. Let your jaw relax. Relax the ears, eyelids, eyebrows, and forehead. Relax all the way up to the top of your head. Okay, so you are obviously free to just lay and relax here for a little bit. If you like, you're ready, you can wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Just start to bring some gentle movements back to the body. I'm going to bend my knees and then just roll to your side. Come up to a seated position. All right, and that's it. If you want, you can sit and meditate for a little bit longer. Otherwise, that's it for today. So hopefully you got something out of it. I enjoy teaching you, so I'll see you next week, the same time, and have a good week.